Nearly 30 years ago, a groundbreaking new radio show made history right here in Cleveland. Its host was a gay health pioneer with a larger-than-life personality.
His work touched a community that at the time wasn't always able to be out and proud. And as our Mike Polk-Jr. reports, long after the show went off the air, his legacy lives on.
The following is a special presentation.
It's the Gay 90s with Buck Harris.
His slogan was sometimes serious, sometimes humorous, never straight talk. And you have to remember, this is before Will and Grace. This is before Ellen came out. This is before Modern Family. It was a big deal.
In March of 1993, Cleveland became home to the nation's first commercial gay and lesbian radio show.
Well, Cleveland, we have arrived. Boy, it seems like it's been a long time coming, and I'm going to be here for the next 2 hours.
When he had an idea and a vision, he was going to pursue it, and he was going to make it happen. And he did. He made this happen.
The Gay 90s was the brainchild of its host and creator, Buck Harris.
This is the Gay 90s, the voice of Northeast Ohio's gay and lesbian community.
Well known in Cleveland's gay community, he was an activist, educator, and urban pioneer.
Perfect radio host, certainly, and a perfect spokesman. You know, anything that Buck Harris was interested in, you couldn't help but see the passion for it and the way he described it.
The show wasn't without controversy. A bomb threat on premiere day made headlines. A hateful billboard went up on Pearl Road. But as Buck's husband, Mike O'Connor, recalls, he was unfazed.
So that got a lot of publicity, and Buck loved it. No publicity was bad publicity in his mind, you know.
The Gay 90s ultimately cultivated a devoted fan base. John Farina began as a listener on the show and went on to become a longtime producer and co-host.
Now, for someone in our age bracket, I would be considered maybe more GQ. That's an older model type, isn't it?
Modern maturity, I think, would be more your line, Buck.
You're going to go to a break, John.
He says despite the local attention, the show didn't get much national publicity.
We didn't get, like, media, like press. Like, you know, there was no CNN reporter knocking on the door. But we did find that publishers knew we were out there.
Buck's dreams of larger syndication never panned out. But the show's real impact came from connecting with everyday listeners.
People were still very, very closeted and afraid to lose their job or their home or get kicked out of the house. So we were this outlet for people.
And Mike from Cleveland, you're in.
Hi, Buck. I was calling mainly to say that I think it's great that WHK is running the show that they're running, and I hope that they continue to do it.
You know, I am. I'm quite proud of it. I think we did such important stuff. It makes me feel good to know that there were people who heard our voices and we meant something to them.
After 6 years and 2 stations covering important issues.
I see a whole new movement, though. I mean, even that they've coined the term now transgender to be more inclusive. And I really think we're seeing a major shift in our community.
And landing memorable guests, the show went off the air in 1999, a victim of the evolving media landscape and changing times. Buck went on to open a restaurant and a long-running yoga studio in his beloved Ohio City neighborhood.
Of course, he didn't want to just do yoga. He had to run a yoga studio.
But after a battle with lung cancer, Buck passed away in 2018 at the age of 70.
You know, Buck was a larger-than-life, vibrant figure, and he was not afraid to say who he was and be who he was.
Cleveland State University is now home to the Buck Harris Collection, an archive of tapes, memorabilia, and promotional materials.
He ran for office.
Yes.
Elect Buck Harris for Cleveland City Council Ward 17.
On the back, it says Buck walks the talk.
Not bad. It's a good slogan.
Yeah. I'm sure it's referencing his show also.
A show and a man who helped carve a new path forward for his community and the generations that followed.
Well, I think a couple things. One is courage. You know, I hope they appreciate the courage that it took for him to do what he did. Sometimes courage is not one big act, it's one foot in front of the other. You know, stay the course and see what happens. And miracles happened, you know. In many cases, it is a miracle. So.
Mike Polk, 3 News.